If we go back in time, many of the early Christian scientists, people like Francis Bacon, for example, saw the gift of science as one of the ways to militate the effects of the fall, particularly in terms of technology and medicine. Technology and medicine, Bacon saw, were gifts from God which helped the human condition, overcame some of the effects of living in this fallen world, and enabled a limited amount of healing and a limited amount of liberation from the drudgery of human life. I am part of that tradition, unashamedly. I see science and technology as a gift, not just to free us from the drudgery of the fall, but also a gift from God to give us exciting options to fully experience this wonderful universe and the fullness of life that Jesus brings. But up to a point. And I want to balance that sense of science as a gift with an idolatry of science, which says that science is the only answer. If you go back into the Bible to the Tower of Babel story, it wasn't just the building of the tower that was the wrong thing. It was the fact that they saw the tower as a way to provide security apart from God, a way of putting themselves on the same level as God. And that's the danger of science. In the year 1900, people talk about the myth of human progress, the belief that science, technology, and education would free us and provide a new utopia, that if people had enough science and enough education, that's what would happen. And indeed, Gene Roddenberry, the creator of Star Trek, bought into this in a big way. For Roddenberry, the science of exploring the final frontier meant that all human problems and divisions were overcome by this relentless pursuit of science. I mean, apart from one or two Klingons and things like that along the way. The trouble is that the 20th century has shown us that science can do lots of favors for us, but also that dream of human progress can quite easily become a nightmare. So the science that provides the wonderful opportunities for communication is also the same science that produced the gas chambers in Auschwitz. Science can be used for both good and evil. And often science becomes idolatrous in the sense that we put our hopes and trust in science rather than the active God who is at work in this universe. So yes, I'm entirely happy and indeed excited with the technological possibilities for human transformation, for healing, for experiencing a fullness of life. But at the same time, I want to be very clear that my hope for the future is not in science, but it is in the God who created the universe, the God who raised Jesus from the dead, and a God who promises in the future to bring in a new creation where there will be no more tears or drudgery or hardship or death. It's about where I put my faith, I think, that's crucial for me.